The journey to and through leadership is fraught with obstacles. African women leaders operate in a unique cultural, economic, and political context, underpinned by patriarchy. These factors can hinder and even sabotage their leadership progression and distort their relationship with power. What are these obstacles, and how can women leaders successfully navigate them? The challenge of self-promotion. In a fast-moving and competitive world, self-promotion and visibility are essential. Yet, robust self-advertisement flies in the face of modesty, self-effacement, and humility, norms expected of women in many African communities. Drawing attention to oneself is often derided as boastful and conceited. Hence the saying,
"The lioness does not boast of its kill, the hyena does."
But here is the truth. If you do not tell your own story, wave your own flag, and communicate your vision for the future, no one else will do it for you. The danger in continually concealing your talents is that your self-confidence diminishes and you are overlooked when opportunities for progress arise.
Has self-promotion been an obstacle for you during your leadership journey?
Well, I've always had a challenge with self-promotion, and I attribute it to my Catholic school education. When it was drilled into our heads that self-promotion was boastfulness, that self-promotion was wrong, and that you should let other people speak for you. And so I have really struggled with this aspect of leadership. And I have had to develop other tools to see me through. And I have used my creativity in this regard. I've also had to practice self-promotion. I've had to write down who I am and what I want to be, and to try and memorize it. So when I'm asked, I'll be able to say it easily. So it hasn't been easy, and it's a little bit of a contradiction because leaders are expected to self-promote.
What are your tips for perfecting self-promotion?
Practice pitching your attributes and accomplishments until it feels natural. Second, accept praise. Third, embrace your power and potential and delight in it. And if all else fails, use another skill to get yourself noticed. Ambition as a dirty word. African women who strive for power and rapid career progression are invariably described by some sections of their societies as overambitious, aggressive, ruthless, and even shameless. In this case, ambition is not a compliment, but a pejorative. There is a belief that women should not want too much. The progress should be slow and steady, and those who are in a hurry will encounter misfortune. We all remember the tale of the tortoise and the hare, and sayings such as this:
"Little by little, the bird builds its nest."
When African women are admonished for earnestly seeking success, they are programmed to set their sights on playing only in the minor leagues and to internalize patriarchal messages that they are not worthy of great feats or rewards. It is for this reason that so many African women shun leadership roles, suffer from imposter syndrome, become risk-averse, and decline to vacate their comfort zones.
Did anyone ever discourage you from aiming too high?
Oh yes, that often happened to me as a young lawyer. I remember one incident when I met the chairperson or the CEO of one of Kenya's largest banks. And I was must have been about 24, 25. And at that time, there were very few women in private practice in Kenya. And so I asked this gentleman, whether I could make an appointment to come and see him to discuss the provision of work. And he just burst into laughter. He just laughed his head off and, asked me, how I thought it was possible that me, a young lawyer with a small practice, could possibly work in his bank. But, fast forward, I later became the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kenya. He came to see me, and I just giggled inside.
What are your tips regarding ambition and racing up the leadership ladder?
Do not be afraid to aspire. You're entitled to great things. Second, however fast you rise up, build your competencies and skills also. Third, seek wisdom during your leadership journey so that you can successfully stay the course all the way to the end. Is hard work enough? Hard work is a universal value throughout our continent, and laziness is considered sacrilegious. That is why it is often said,
give a hoe to the hard-working farmer. If you give it to the lazy person, he or she stands with it.
As African leaders, we often interpret hard work to mean developing expertise and being task efficient. These factors not only provide us with legitimacy, especially in male-dominated environments, but are also essential components of our power. However, task-oriented hard work without relational skills defeats the very idea of leadership. Because leadership also involves forging relationships, understanding political dynamics, and perfecting the art of maneuver. Due to stereotypes that define correct behavior for African women, we tend to struggle to establish strong strategic networks, make connections, acquire collaborators, and nurture followers. Worse still, we omit to give voice to our work and expect it to speak for us. Hard work alone will not break gender glass ceilings or attract followers.
Were there points where you realized hard work alone wasn't enough?
It takes a while to realize that hard work is not enough. Because it's a combination of two things. It's a combination of trying to gain legitimacy and to show the people around you that you know what you're doing. And so you work hard to really hone your expertise and to give yourself comfort that if you're asked something, you're on top of it. It's also a bulwark against imposter syndrome. You are so sure that somebody's going to catch you out if you don't work hard, if you don't deliver on the task. So as you focus on that, you forget that tasks can't be completed unless you engage with teams, unless you establish relationships with people who will help you campaign for the issues that are important for you. And you learn that when you're overlooked, and you register that, and you begin to establish a pattern of doing both things, establishing strong ties and also doing the work. It's not easy. Sometimes the balance tips in favor of one side against the other, but what's important is that you do both things in parallel.
What are your tips regarding hard work and leadership?
Adopt a holistic leadership approach. Second, deliberately network and construct strategic relationships. Third, seek the support of mentors and coaches in this endeavor. And finally, stop working in isolation. Otherwise, leadership and power will pass you by. As we take this short power break, we ask that you subscribe to the Power Panel podcast. Let's work together to expand the Power Panel community. Visit our website, birdsongafrica.com, and follow us on social media to plug into the Power Panel network. Email your thoughts to hello@birdsongafrica.com. This is the Power Panel podcast, Reflections. Taking sisterhood for granted. There is a notion that because African women experience the same struggles against discrimination, misogyny, and exclusion, we are bound by a sense of solidarity and sisterhood and will naturally support women leaders. However, African women are often accused of being their own worst enemies.
We need to show solidarity. And you know, Rachel, when you take it up at the higher level, at professional level, what do we see is that women tend to bring women down. And this is so wrong. So our role is to actually build that network so we can help more women rise together. Because I tell you this, if we don't rise together, we're going to sink together very fast.
Women leaders should not expect blanket support from other women. We need to understand that women followers often view women leaders through the lens of patriarchy. They are sometimes uncooperative and negative due to social conditioning, which entrenches intra-female enmity. In addition, women carry heavy burdens, including competition for the limited space and resources available.
Don't think that women don't want to support women. We do. But the problem is what they put on them is so heavy for the women to be able to be free in their mind. I say, look at her problem. She has already challenged herself. Maybe it's those challenges that make her not supporting the other.
Have you experienced solidarity within sisterhood?
Yes, I have experienced solidarity from my sisters in ways that have been amazing and so touching and so life-changing. I recall that it was Honorable Martha Karua and the Honorable Chief Justice, Martha Kome, who planted the idea of standing as chairperson of the Law Society in my head many years ago. They came to my office, asked me to go and have coffee with them, and they asked me to stand as the first woman Law Society chairperson. And they gave me the confidence to do it because it was the very first time a woman would have stepped into that role.
How should women leaders build sisterhood?
First, do not take women followers for granted. Second, learn to celebrate other women's achievements. Third, nurture sisterhood and support other women as you climb up the ladder. Hubris. As a leader, it is very easy to become self-obsessed, to believe in your hype, your press, your invincibility, your indispensability. African women are not immune in this regard. When leaders suffer from hubris and excessive pride, they are at their most vulnerable and often indulge in reckless conduct. In the throes of hubris, leadership can crumble and exert a very heavy cost.
If you fill your head with pride, then you will have no room for wisdom.
With all your achievements, how do you personally stay grounded?
Well, I have a family that reminds me every day that I'm an ordinary person and I'm the sixth child in that family. They don't let me get away with arrogance. They don't allow me to be haughty and continually remind me that in my leadership journey, I'm there to serve and that pride comes before a fall.
What are your tips on tackling hubris?
Remind yourself every day that your leadership is ephemeral and that power corrupts. Second, be watchful. Third, accept criticism and advice. It will keep you humble. Finally, surround yourself with people who will hold you accountable. Thank you most sincerely for listening. This is the Power Panel Podcast, Reflections.